All right, so here we are. It is 7 o'clock. I'm super excited because we've got Gary Gunter on the line with us here with What's the 411. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. It is 7 p.m. and we're going to jump right into it. So I'd like to introduce our first guest, Mr. Gunter. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Ellie. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I am doing well as well. Why
Good.
don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Let everybody know all of the great things that you have going on.
Oh man. Well, I hate bragging on myself. You did a great job of introducing me. Basically, I am the general manager of Flow 98.7 FM radio station. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I've been here in the GTA since September when I was part of a new ownership group that took over G 98.7. And then most recently in February, we flipped it to Flow. So I'm basically in charge of running the station and making sure that we are continuing our excellence in the community and serving our community on the level that it should be represented in.
Awesome. Awesome. So you're coming from the windy city of Chicago, eh?
Well, actually, that's not where I'm coming from, but that's where I'm from. I'm originally
Okay.
from Chicago. I actually came here from Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, with iHeartMedia. I've been in several markets before here. A long list of markets, so I won't go into it. But the latest one coming from here was I was recruited from iHeartMedia out of Norfolk, Virginia, and came here from there.
Awesome. Well, go
Mhm.
into it. Talk to us about your history. Where did your passion for music and media come from?
Well, it's a strange story. I actually, and my mother tells the story. When I was a kid, I used to always have my little, and I'm much older than you, so you maybe have never heard of a cassette recorder when there used to be little cassettes that you could record and play. And I had my little cassette recorder, and I would kind of do it, be in my room and take my initials GLG and say, okay, you listen to WGLG, and I would make up my own little shows or whatever. So who knew that that would be? And I mean, this is when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. So, it was just part of growing up and playing and doing something fun for me as an only child growing up, entertaining myself. And who knew that it would turn out to be what my career has been focused in. But the real reason how I ended up getting into radio was that when I went away to college, or as you say here, university, when I went away to university, um, I actually went to become a dentist, believe it or not, right? So,
Wow.
but I know, but chemistry, inorganic and organic chemistry did not want me to become a dentist, right? So, because you had to have A and B in all of your major subjects that you took, and I was struggling with that. So I was also at the same time the university like station mixer at the parties, right? So I would do the
Mm.
parties, play the music for all the parties and different shows and stuff they were calling me to do. So I always had the musical side and made money on the side, just being in college doing that. And I decided to switch my major without telling my parents actually to radio and television because they did have a great radio TV program where I went to school. So I said, it kind of feels, I want something more exciting, engaging, tied into music. So I changed it to radio and television. And so when they called my name, as a graduate, and they said radio and TV, my parents looked at each other like, "What the hell?" So I had a lot of explaining to do, but at least I had my diploma, and now they can look back at it and laugh and joke about it.
For sure. And now I'm sure they're
Yeah.
just like, well, he was recording at 5 years old anyway, so I guess it's the right place for him.
Yeah, 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 yeah. They knew it was coming.
That's good. And then, so what was your first job, like as or on, like somewhere that you could really remember that's memorable for you that you were kind of like, okay, this is it, this is where I'm going to be?
Yeah, well, I had a strategy when I was in my last year of school because, although I was at a school that was well known for media and communications, it was not in Chicago, and everybody wanted to get back to Chicago because
Mm.
that's where the big salaries were, the big opportunities, the bigger market. You know what I mean? You strive to get to a big market. Like right now, we're in the number one market in Canada. Everybody's, in Canada striving to get into Toronto, right? So my school university was in the southern part of the state, and it was more of a country area. So I took my last like 6 credits at a school in Chicago that was known for communications, which is called Columbia College. That way, you got to network with your instructors, your teachers, your professors were actual people who were, in the industry. We might have a class, one guy, he's doing the 6 o'clock news and he teaches your news class. You might have another guy who's teaching production and he's like the producer for, another network. So it was actual people that were teaching you who were in the business, in the marketplace. So you got to network, got to know somebody, so you could get an internship, hopefully, with a major company or major network in Chicago. So that's what I did. Ended up getting an internship with the number one station in Chicago, which happened to be a black formatted station, urban station called WBMX, and was just an intern. You know what I mean? For like 3 or 4 months, just running errands, getting everybody's coffee, and doing the grunt work, and just trying to make a little difference. And get noticed because it was number one in Chicago. Everybody wanted to be there, so they never really kept any interns after their 3 month period. They let you go. But the general manager took a liking to me, and he said, Gary, I really like you, and I like, your hard work and your dedication. Here it's hard to keep interns around, but I do have one opportunity I may be able to help you out with if you want to stay. So I was like, sure. I was excited. I was like, what is that? So it was to be the receptionist. So I became the receptionist of the radio station. But you know what? That was the best thing in the world because it taught me how to talk to people. It
Yeah.
taught me, and I mean, I'm talking like Janet Jackson's manager would be calling in, to arrange her coming in to do an interview this is when artists actually came to the radio stations, right? It was before all the technology, TikTok, social media. They actually showed up in a limo and, did the morning show, right? So, I mean, I'd be talking to Janet Jackson, man. Yeah, can you tell me what side of the building come in? This is Janet Jackson, man. Da, 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 da. And sometimes it would be somebody you wouldn't expect, a business owner, a huge business owner. So it allowed me to kind of, talk to people. Even though I was a little peon, I was just like the first person they saw when they came in. So, um, it made me feel proud to be, a 20, 21-year-old kid being able to, be at the front of this world famous radio station in Chicago with all black and black formatted artists coming through. And it was just such an exciting time. So from that point, I think I did that for like about 6, 8 months before an actual opportunity came where I started to do writing because I had a minor in journalism, so I could write commercials. So they had me writing the commercials for the sales department. So whenever the salespeople would come back with a potential client, they would come to see me and say, Gary, I need a 30-second commercial for this, or I need a 15-second commercial for this. I'd write it. They give me all the specs. I'd write it, give it to them. They take it back out, get it produced, and play it for that particular client and close the deal. Little did I know that off of my writing a commercial, they were making 100, 150, $200,000 a year off of all of this, right? Advertising. So at that point, when I found out I'm on the wrong side of this table, right? So I decided to focus on becoming a salesperson, or what they call an account executive back then, because they were making so much money. And I was money driven, still am. Um, but at the same time, I had the ability that they didn't, to be able to be creative right there in front of the client, right there, write the commercial in front of him, not have to take it back to Gary to have him write it for him and then come back another day. I could write it and have it right there in front of you. So I had like an advantage that helped me propel myself in the business and set me apart. So the rest was history.
Wow. How hard is that? Like you're talking about just drafted up a commercial on tap. Like
It's
that's
not
crazy.
hard.
No,
Yeah, it's not
eh?
hard. I mean, there's a system to do it. I mean, I could teach you how to do it in like 15 minutes, and you be
Really?
good. You be good for the rest of your life. Yeah,
Wow. Really? Very, very
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story as well. Especially, I could imagine only the feeling, being there, seeing all of these different people coming through and having that opportunity to greet them.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you didn't even have the opportunity to greet them. It was just, you tried to, because you were like a peon. It's like, get back, move back, kid. Let's sit down.
Yeah.
Don't speak unless spoken to. Hey,
Hmm.
okay, I'm fine. I'm in the room. But then there were things we would do like excuse me, after hours, where they would have like release parties, record release parties. And I don't know if you remember or ever heard of Vanity. Remember
Oh, yeah.
Prince's Girl? Okay.
Yeah.
So Vanity, when Vanity first came out, right? So
Wow.
we had a party for Vanity. It was our first solo because it used to be Vanity Six. It was our group, but this is when she came out her first solo. So because we were the number one station, and they brought it to Chicago, and we had like a listener party at this nightclub for her. So we all in VIP, right? And she brought her sister, and her sister was this as pretty as she was, but her sister was like all over me, right? So I'm just an intern to myself, but I'm playing it out, I'm enjoying myself. I wasn't even old enough to be drinking, right? So I'm 20, you got to be 21, so I'm drinking, soda. But she was like getting real, just like all over me. I was like, oh my. I mean, I'll never forget that. That was like one of the biggest highlights of my internship when I was young. Just Manny's sister was all over me, man. But but yeah, fun stuff like that we did just constantly, man. It just had this, made me fall in love with radio.
Hmm. So, of all of the different people that you worked with coming up, like who would have inspired you or motivated you the most to stay on that track?
Well, just to get me started, like I said, the general manager of that station, he didn't have to. His name was Kearney Anderson, rest in peace. He saw something in me that I didn't. He gave me the courage and confidence to be able to say, I can deal with all these sharks and all these big boys in this big city in this business because he said, I see something there, I'll let you stay as a receptionist if you want, give you a shot. And then, I'm an only child, right? So my mother I was living with my parents at the time when I was doing my internship. So he told me, he said, you need to move out your mama's house, right? You need to move out the house. So he was telling me all the stuff my mother didn't want to hear, right? Knew it was coming at some time, but she didn't want her baby moving out of her house. So anyway, he said, I will pay, you find a place, I'll pay half your rent for the first 3 months. So I was like, mine got big. I was like, okay. So, oh man, I found this nice condo on the lakefront, but it wasn't really expensive. But I had a roommate. But anyway, so I came back. My mother said, Mom, I'm moving out. So she's like, what? So I said, I'm moving out. So she's like, why are you gonna do that? I said, well, my boss, Mr. Anderson, said he's gonna. So she was kind of really pissed at him for a while, right? But then after a few weeks of that, now once I moved out, and she did her little boohoo, and it was all good, and she kind of thanked him for helping me get out of the what do you call it, the nest, her only child, and on his way. So I give a lot of glory to him. And then there's so many people along the way who have believed in me, and there's been a lot of haters along the way who have motivated me. So it all goes together.
Mm. But you say haters motivate. Why do you say that?
I mean, because when you have people hating on you or thinking, or behind your back saying one thing that you can't, you're never going to be successful. And not saying that a lot of people say that, but just sometimes it can be jealousy, sometimes it can be animosity. It comes in many different forms. But because you're a successful Black person, Black people can be a certain type of way about that, right? So that sort of motivates me to just not be disrespectful and being successful and shoving it in their face, but more so just showing them that I can rise above that. You know what I mean? I'm one of those that says you should keep your haters, and not even your haters, but your people that you don't trust, you should keep them closer to you than the people you do trust. So, you need to know where they are at all times. Um, and then the ones, that you trust, you just go with the flow. So,
Mm. Okay, well, that's some wise words. Wise words.
yeah, I'm sure people can relate to that.
So talk to us about the radio station here in Toronto, Flow 98.7. What is going on at Flow right now? What made you come here to this great city to this radio station?
Well, I came here for the great internet, Wi-Fi, and cable services you all have, and I was really disappointed a couple of days ago when I didn't have the
Yeah.
service for 2 days. No,
Mm-hmm.
I actually, was recruited by an international recruiter to, come here to basically help sustain G
Mm-hmm.
98.7 in its place as the number one source, the number one station for the audience of the Caribbean and Black listenership that it had. Because the owner, although he's not of Caribbean and Black descent, he wanted to make sure that the station continued to represent itself as such. And by putting a person of color like me, although not Canadian, but who knows how to get the job done, who knows how to monetize things, how to generate revenue, how to help a station flourish and sustain itself, he felt that I was the best choice for that. And so far, so good. It's kind of worked out because just to bring somebody in and put them in a position because they are Canadian or because they are Black or because whatever, and then you fall into the same rut that the previous ownership had, where it kind of fell off and it didn't perform. And next thing you know, it's having challenges with revenue and going into bankruptcy courts and things of that nature. That's something you don't want to continue.
For sure. And I love how this international individual just scouted you, found the best, and brought you here to the best city so that you can come to the best radio station to big it up?
There you go.
Love
Yeah,
that.
best is the word. Yeah.
Love that. So what sets 98.7 aside? What makes you different? What makes you number one?
Well, we're not number one, um, but we are number one for what we do. I'm never one of those out there, you know, waving my flag. I'm number one. I'm number one. I'm number one. But we strive to be the best. Again, best, like you said, best at what we do, and that's serving our audience. Which is, serving means entertaining, educating, motivating, and just influencing people of color, primarily blacks in the GTA, with the content and programming that we provide. That's it in a nutshell.
Awesome, awesome. And then, so, things have changed. We talked a little bit earlier, mentioning about TikTok, the internet, YouTube, all these different things. How has that changed radio?
It's made it better. It's made it better. But the one thing that TikTok and all social media cannot do is they cannot give a serious sense of localism to a market. So TikTok, they're not announcing what time it is, what the traffic is like, going to work, just your everyday nonstop stuff that you need to know. You
Hmm.
know, I mean, you can dance all day, but that's not going to help you get to work on time.
It's definitely true. Definitely true. It's definitely evolving all the time. So, how does radio keep up with the change in media?
We just have to make sure that we utilize our digital services. I mean, we do a good job of tying together our website and things we do on the website with tying it into what we do on the radio to tie it into what we do at events, on site at different events. Just using our strengths to continue to focus on those.
Hmm. And talk to us a bit about what we have to look forward to with Flow. Flow is doing some great things.
Well,
Excited about
they just say, I say all the time, it gets greater later. So just be around. It's greater later. But no, I think you'll just see us out more, in the community, more exposure, doing big things. We just finished doing the Afro Fest this past weekend for 2 days as the main radio partner for that and Peter Toe, and that was a great event.
it.
Um, and just want to do more of that, giving back.
For sure. Do you guys have any other events coming up for this summer?
We're a partner also with what is the big event Caravana. We're also partner with Jerk Fest. Yeah, we've got several. You can go to the website 987.com and see all the things that we're involved with.
So have you ever been to Caravana here in Toronto before?
I have not.
Guys, did you hear this? He has not.
I have not.
You haven't touched road in Toronto yet at Caravana.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to
This
touching
year,
road.
2022, we're gonna catch you on a float or something, right? We're gonna see pictures all over.
Oh my goodness. And you have me in a costume too.
You don't have to do the costume. You just gotta jump out there and enjoy yourself with
Oh
everybody, you
yeah.
know?
I think we're actually in the parade. I think our vehicle is in the parade.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
yeah,
That's good. Yeah, Caravana is definitely always a great time. Lots of people in the city. So it's just great time to have fun.
great.
Mhm.
That's what I hear. Looking forward to it.
Yes. So tell us what keeps you motivated as an individual, like now in your life going on. How do you stay motivated and consistent?
At this point in my career, I've been doing this for almost 30 years now. So I'm at the twilight of my career. So, I basically get out of bed doing this. I mean, there's nothing I have to really stay motivated to do. It's just in my blood right now. Um, so hopefully I can pass that on to people, younger people around me or people who I come in contact with and get them motivated to want to, do better and be better in whatever they're doing. So that's where I'm at now in my career, is trying to just help others to get to where they want to be and to provide knowledge to help them attain the lofty goals that they want to, if they want to achieve them in this business.
Hmm.
Mm.
If you had like a couple words of advice for anybody, what would they be? Or even a quote. Sometimes I do ask for like quotes or, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've given you about 5 or 6 quotes, and I'm giving you those for free.
Uh,
But as far as words of wisdom, just never give up. And you hear that all the time. But in this business, there's always more no's than yeses. But that one yes can make up for all the no's. So stay focused, stay true to who you are. Um, and when I say stay focused, people want to do so many different things. If you can
mm,
find one or two, and then narrow down to one being your best and two being your backup plan, I think you'll be pretty good.
okay. Awesome.
Hmm.
Awesome stuff. So I just want to thank you. I want to
Oh,
thank you for reaching
anytime.
out, at least, reaching back, and coming on, jumping on here today and chopping it up with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for the invitation. Much success to you. And we'll do it again soon. Okay.
Definitely.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Sounds good. All right.
All right.
Well, you
Take
take
care.
care, okay? Have
All right.
yourself
Bye
a
bye.
wonderful evening.
You too. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.